Okay, it's day 39, and I wanted to respond to my brother's video. A couple of clarifications. I'll just responding. He asked for some clarifications, and I think this is important. First of all, I've always believed that the drug trade in Los Angeles was started by George Bush in 1980 when Ronald Reagan became president, or 1981, July 20. So that's where I was saying, when I say Iran-Contra, I mean the Gary Webb version of Dark Alliance, meaning the drug trade, creating the gangs in Los Angeles, creating the Bloods, creating the Crips, starting the process of bringing in MS-13 to create a gang, counter-gang strategy, gangs for security. This is the same things we're seeing in our cities today. So it's actually a very good crucible to explain exactly what CIA does. And this is Gary Webb all over again. If you want to go back to Dark Alliance, you can look at this. But the idea is we have winners. Our gang is winners. Their gang is losers. We're going to acquire assets by attacking them in a lot of different ways. You can do that through honeypots. You can do that through opiate targeting, getting people arrested, taking their assets, a whole system. And then you come up with this social graphing that they you attack families, basically. It's very tribal in nature. So that's what I mean about Iran-Contra, to answer Dave's question. So he was there during that time. Now, as I've said throughout this series, that 99 or 95% of the people involved in these operations are oblivious. They're the most patriotic people that are out there. And that's another trait of Ratlines and another trait of the CIA. They'll have the Air Force run in helicopter missions, the Army run Delta Force missions, the Navy helicopter, Navy, everything. The whole idea is to have as few people in on the action as possible. The only people that are, and if you ever watch the movie 73, it gives you a really good appreciation of this, where there's just this inner circle that's dealing in the Ratlines. It's very few people are actually involved in the Ratlines, and it's usually covered with something like a diplomatic mission to go get flags, or go make sure there's enough boot polish in another base. There's usually some sort of cover, but normally there's a lot of, if you watch this latest movie, American Made, you'll see that hey, we were doing reconnaissance in that area when Barry Seal starts flying in that area. Well, no, actually we weren't. The Mina drug operation started, I believe, in '82. So if I missed it maybe by a couple of months either side, I'm just saying Dave was in Central America. He gave me firsthand accounts of this situation. I in no way, and I've said this numerous times, I've no way and ever said he was involved in anything illegal, ever. Now, occasionally, sometimes when you're speaking live, you do misspeak, and I always, when you're speaking extemporaneously, I always correct it when somebody brings something to my attention that says it's not true, and I correct it immediately. And this is the same case with this. The Army intelligence piece is, I believe that there was another person involved in his life that could have been involved with Army intelligence. That may or may not be true. I don't have any proof of that. That's why I misspoke about Army intelligence. And I think he knows who I'm talking about. And I won't mention that person's name. But, so as far as, CIA, I believe he worked for a CIA contractor. I believe he was involved. I don't know if it was the Joe Romello case or not in 1992, but I believe he worked for somebody named Lim Kinney. I do believe that there was a fraud case. I put the thumbnail on my video. If that's not the right case, I believe it was one of the highest ranking CIA people ever. So when I say working for, I mean as a contractor for the CIA. So I don't want to say Dave was a CIA agent or he had a paycheck that ever said CIA. He never did. I do remember him telling me that he was instrumental in putting this guy away for a long time. And I thought the guy's name was Joe Romello, and I thought it was Lim Kinney was the person that was involved in the fraud with him. So that's where I get it, my information. If that's wrong, David can correct this, but that's where I got those impressions. I hope that clears that up.